Good evening and welcome to the Town Hall. This is the Get to Know Show, and we have Dr. Sofie Nubani. She is going to be with us this evening. She is the Queen of Laughter, but I tell you, she is a whole lot more. I'm really looking forward to this broadcast. It's going to be great fun. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about creative thinking. We're talking about convergent thinking. We're also talking about divergent thinking, and she's going to explain these to us. But what it comes down to is getting creative about our thought, and in thinking creatively, applying that to our life, and then taking action to become as successful as we possibly can. And so we're waiting for Sofie to join us here. Let me tell you just a little bit about Dr. Sofie. She is a Creatrix Interpersonal Executive Coach. I've known her actually for several years now. As a matter of fact, I met her a few years back personally when she came here to Sarasota, and she was interested in what the Live with Nature is doing, and we did an interview, and I was very blessed to meet her as well as Bob Choate, and we'll be talking about Bob here shortly, as a matter of fact. So she has several credentials. Obviously, she's a doctor now, and that's so awesome. I'm very pleased with her. She's a certified Laughter Yoga Instructor, as well as a certified NLP coach. And if you're not familiar with NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming, and that's about thought. That's about how we're thinking and retraining our thinking to become more productive. And master practitioner with NLP, as a matter of fact, certified social and emotional intelligence coach, as well as a certified Reiki teacher. And she's also an ordained minister. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff. Now, she is also the author of her brand new book, Optimize Your Creative Mindset. And that's what we're talking about this evening, is creative mindset. And so I want to welcome everybody. I see that I have a message from her. She's not able to get on for some reason. So hopefully very shortly we'll get her to this program. And in the meantime, I just want to ask you, are you thinking creatively? Are you giving time to think about the things that you want to achieve in your life, and to become then dynamic enough to take action on those thoughts? I know that I gave an example. It's going to be coming up, as a matter of fact, in her next book. This is actually the first book. I've got that right here. And I'm not sure what problem she's having, but this is a brand new book, and I'm very, very pleased to have a copy of it. I've started reading it. I haven't read all the way through it, but I know a few months ago she wanted to write a book. Well, several months ago. It just seems like a couple months, right? But she asked several people to contribute to that, and I was one of the people that did as well. And she ended up writing so much and being so comprehensive that, in fact, it ended up being 3 books. So we're starting with the first one, is what I understand. And then, about 6 months or so down the road, we'll deal with the second one. And I've got a portion in that book. Now, what I talked about was my situation. Maybe I'm giving up the ghost here a little bit early, but that's fine. I want to use it as an example of convergent and divergent thinking. So what I did was to I ended up homeless. I don't know if people know my story, but the bottom line is I had a pretty good life. I enjoyed a lot of successes, but I also really wasn't very happy with myself. And what I found is that I was really feeling unworthy. I was feeling like, I just wasn't good enough and I didn't meet people's expectations. And as a way of coping with that, I was drinking. And so I was drinking and using drugs, and that was just making, honestly, it worse. And as a matter of fact, it made it so bad. I made poor choices. By the way, do not drink and drive. That is just an absolute mistake. Not only could you hurt yourself, but you could hurt somebody else. And God forbid that that would happen. And then I don't want to see you go through the kind of, pain and suffering that it created for me, because I got in trouble back in 2010. And what happened is that I ended up homeless, and I was out in the woods, and I'd lost everything that I had, and so I had to start thinking about, well, what am I going to do next, right? And so what I did was to put together the processes of creative thinking and divergent thinking and taking action to get myself to a point where I can be talking to you today. Now we have Sofie Nubani in the virtual green room studio, and I am going to be so pleased to bring her on in. Let's bring Sofie Nubani in and let me introduce you to her if you don't know her already. Welcome, Sofie.
Hello, hello. Thank you. And I am so happy to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, thank you. I hopefully we're not getting some feedback. I've got the volume going here on this computer. If we can just turn it down a little bit, just like this here, just a little bit there. Okay, excuse me, everybody. Live video, gotta love that. Working on having some help here. I do have some help in the studio this evening. So, but welcome. How are you doing today? What you feeling pretty good? You excited about
Yes,
this? By the
yes.
way, I see your book in the background.
Oh, you got
Got my
it.
copy. So
Happy reading.
yes, absolutely. That's a lot to read, right? I mean, look at how thick this book is. This is serious. This is like a manual, right? My goodness.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking. Well, maybe let's start with you just introducing yourself. And by the way, folks, we love that you're here. We want you to share this out. This is going to be some great information. If you know somebody that can benefit from this, and I think all of us can benefit, make sure to share this video out. Make sure to tell your friends and put it in the groups that you belong to as well. So I'd love for you to introduce. Just let's get to know you.
Hello, and thank you for inviting me on your amazing show. You're such an inspiring host, and I'm so amazed by the progress that you continue to show in everything that you're doing, Stephen. And I loved your last article on the achievement magazine that you
Yeah.
had, which is really cool too.
Thank
So
you.
I wish everyone an amazing airtime together. And please feel free to ask. We are here to help and support any questions that can improve, clear, and assist you in your creative journey. And my name is Dr. Sofie Nubani. I'm a Creatrix Interpersonal Executive Coach and author of the series of Optimize Your Creative Mindset book. Book one is out, and I am very excited to share the gift of Optimize Your Creative Mindset with all of you. And I'm also an NLP Master Practitioner, EFT and TFT Practitioner, as well as Reiki Master, Chios Master Teacher, and also Emotional and Social Intelligence Coach, Laughter Yoga Instructor certified as well, and few other things that I do. And
You do a
my
lot.
most late project is actually Optimize Your Creative Mindset. So we're excited about that.
Yes, I'm excited about it. I really want to get into the book. I told them just a little bit. I didn't give the whole thing away about the portion that I wrote, but I had to use this convergent and divergent thinking processes, and that's what you had asked me to do, was to do that, and then you would then elaborate on that. So maybe you can explain to the viewers about convergent and divergent thinking. What's the difference here, and what is it?
Yes, and it is nice that because all the hosts choose the topics that they feel that is necessary and more helpful to their audience. And that is a foundation. So creativity, uh, most people would think that it's a right side brain thing, people who are artists and painters, musicians. But there is, creative science, and there is creative art as well. And creativity engages both hemispheres of the brain. So it's not only a right side thing like people thought. The process of creativity will have to engage both sides. And if you don't, you are not going to have creativity leading to innovation. And an easy way to look at it was a demonstration that I saw a while back, and that it stuck in my head. If I ask you to stretch your hands and just look up in the sky,
Okay.
uh, and then that feeling, just how does that feel, looking up into the sky and just letting your mind go, and ideas come and generate whatever comes with you in that feel of openness and upness and upward feeling. Then if I ask you to stretch down as much as you can to reach your toes,
Right.
right,
Yes.
you are going to use a whole different different posture, and it's going to require a different kind of bending and stretching. It is exactly how I would say a creative process needs. The divergent thinking would be like you stretching up to the sky and getting all the ideas. And the convergent is narrowing it down to where your feet has to go and make a choice of what you're
Okay.
doing.
So it's the action part of it.
It is the process of thinking. For example, the divergent, you want to bring as many ideas that are useful and novel together with all the possibilities. And then you, on a convergent level, would have to narrow them down to pick the best possible solution. So it's like almost gas is divergent thinking while you're driving, and brakes would be the convergent thinking by choosing and stopping to select. And it's like expansion and contraction. So you have to first be expanded with your thoughts and ideas, bring as many as you can, and see the best possibilities when you are using the convergent thinking. And what's happened is a lot of times in our corporate world, leaders are very focused on the convergent part of it because they have issues and problems. And in their mind's eye, if I can get those best convergent thinkers, then they can choose for me the best solution. But without having the right divergent thinkers in an organization and operation, you're not going
Hmm.
to have innovation because there's no newness. It's going to be stale and stagnant.
Hmm.
So, understanding the importance of both as a foundation is very important for new box thinking. And new box thinking is not just thinking, out of the box. It is thinking in and out of the box so that you are realistic as well as optimistic and solution oriented with your approach. Because creativity is not just about traits, but it's also the approach that you have towards a certain, issue or challenge that you are facing.
Okay. Very good. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in, but it's I think very informative. What I'd like to ask you too about is, right now you talk about in your book about the current challenges and the current crisis that we're going through and how the world's facing that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next problem. Okay, and so what are some of the things that a person can do? You need to go grab the battery charger out the back.
Sure. So, in the 90s, originally, the creative crisis was coined by Professor Kim, which studied under the Torrance testing and the university, and she really addressed the crisis of specifically what Americans are facing mostly.
Mhm.
And from that point, there has been, a lot of attention. So there has to be, when there is attention to a problem, people tend to try to find solutions, which is good because now you're highlighting that we have a concern and how can we solve it. But the issue is when we continue to work by default and not really recognize that we're still having a problem, is when we faced a pandemic. And a lot of people were not able to really handle the shift and the change, the immediate face of challenge very well. And that's why a mental illness was rising very high in percentages more than ever before, because when you face a challenge and you don't have tools prior that you are able to use when you face those challenges, you tend to panic faster and be more stressed and have higher anxiety. So the thing is, when you do have an awareness about how to deal and respond with crisis prior to it happening, it will make it a lot more easy to transcend the situation or the challenge itself. And some of the things that people can do to assist in that is to use the resources that are available to them. And one of those resources and different tools, there's many, but you can start with simple things that are immediately available, such as breathing. And coherent breathing will assist in lowering your cortisol levels and anxiety and stress. And when you are able to do that, you are able to have more oxygen to the brain and think better and brighter towards solutions. The other would be laughter. Laughter engages both hemispheres of the brain immediately. And with that, it will encourage more creative thoughts because you are getting into a state of easiness within your system, and your good feel good hormones are going on. And that really generates a lot more ID generation than when you are completely closed up and stressed because of fear or anxiety, and or facing things that you don't know the solution for. And therefore, those are little tools, like I was just sharing the breathing and the laughter to help through a creative crisis. I have in the book the acronym Courage and all the traits that come with it in depth, and it is a little bit of, about 30 pages long, because it is so important that people understand how to use something for it to really be effective. So we can all talk about the law of attraction all day long, but not everyone was able to manifest equally, because just saying and giving a general idea is one thing. It gives you an awareness. But to get to meta awareness, you really have to understand it well and be really clear on what you are aware of so you can apply it better. And so those are some of the tools that I would say, like the vision board, the yang and yang vision board, or the concept of setting goals with intention is very, very important. You see, thoughts, the traits of thoughts are content, focus, and direction, right? For thoughts to really exist and to come to fruition and manifest. So with having the content, which is what you're thinking of with your cognitive hemisphere, and what is the foundation of it is where all these ideas are coming in. And then you need to focus on which of those ideas or thoughts that you're picking, and take it to which direction you want to apply it for. So always remember, it's the content, and then it's the focus, and it's the direction of the thought that you have awareness of directing.
That's important to know. I wanted to ask the viewers. We've got plenty of viewers here. If you have a question for Dr. Sofie, we would love for you to put that into the comments. We'll ask her. I'd love to know from the viewers, what are some of the things that they are trying to achieve in their life that they've been working on? And you can put it down in just a couple words. I want to achieve this. And then we'd like to take that question, if you don't mind, and we'll have Dr. Sofie address that and apply the thought process that we're talking about here, and help you. So if you have a question, you have a thought, you have a goal, let's hear about that. And let's see if Dr. Sofie will help you through that, and we'll give you a clear example of how this works. Now, of course, and I'm not surprised, all my questions you just talked about, which is so awesome, though. But I do want to ask you about the vision boards, because vision boards, I think, are super important. Now, you've got in your book, you're talking about this yin and yang vision board, action board, and then the circle of creative masters. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, yes. So the foundation of a vision board is to help people connect their ideas and desires with clear intent attached to a vibration and emotion to that intent that they would like to accomplish and have uh, manifest, and put it into an area where it is very easy for them on a subconscious level to really vibrationally connect with. It makes it easier because our brain, it cannot just understand all these things, it has to process. For you to process things, it's either in images, through writing, sound. It's easier for you to process it because otherwise your mind cannot really handle all that. So on a subconscious level, what you're doing by creating a vision board, and usually it's, when you want to create, sometimes it's shorter periods, like it could be 3 months or a certain time that you have. But on the whole, people are creating them for, like, let's say their yearly goals, or 6 months to a
Mhm.
year, where they have a feel to where they want to be, and have a process they follow by looking at it and connecting back to their goals. It just keeps them inspired and
Mhm.
emotionally connected to their goals, so they don't just kind of lose their momentum and their hope, or something
Okay.
happens like a pandemic and they're like, oh yeah. We have to be adaptable, that's very important.
Okay.
We have to be flexible, that's very important. But you don't
So
have to lose sight of where you're going
so
either.
it's better to do it in short term. You're saying 6 months to a year. Don't do this whole 20-year plan necessarily right off the bat, right?
So the dream board, so it did the vision action board, right?
Mhm.
The action board is always important because that's like the steps you're taking towards getting to the results that you want to accomplish. But the dream boards are usually for longer terms, so 5 to 10 years. You were now looking at a dream board. So when this new decade entered in December, I had my yearly vision board that I wanted, and I have manifested already three of the things during the pandemic because I stayed on course and not try to be so distracted by the background noise, but still being able to be there. So I'm realistic, but not for it to rob off what I really intended to be in service for. So with that, the time I did my yearly vision board, I had also done my decade. So in 2000 and December 229, like that's gonna be the decade for me. And there are things that of course I might adjust and be flexible for, because we grow and our interests and our desires are maybe our resources change as well, so we can add or we might need to deduct. But meanwhile, that bigger vision is always there, and it helps you to stay on track because it helps you to be more clear to the path that you are wanting to take, provided you understand that you need to be flexible and adaptable. That's only for your own best psychology and energy balance, so that you're not attached to the outcome in a way that if things don't work accordingly for any reason in the world, that you are able to know that I can create a different goal that's more realistic, and I can, or maybe you have discovered a new thing that can help you get closer to your dream
Mhm.
board, and it might manifest in 5 years instead of 10 years, and now you're going to make a new one. That's possible.
That would be awesome. Absolutely. The
Yes.
quicker it happens, I mean, that we all like the reward at the end of achieving these goals that we set. I'd like to go to some of the viewers. I'd like to also remind you, please share this video out, share it to your friends, share it to the groups that you belong to. All right. You can also watch us, by the way. This is a TV show. We are on E360 TV. You can watch us on the Roku TV. You can watch us on Amazon Fire, as well as Apple and Android TV. But you can also just go to our website, the LW, not the, I always say that, it's lwnfoundation.org. Hit that live stream tab, and then you can have a choice, either E360 if you've got the smart TV, or go up to YouTube and watch this video live as well. And there's a history of all the shows that we've got there, so you can go back at your convenience. If there was something really important, and I know that there's a ton of information that we're talking tonight, that you can go back and watch at your convenience. Now, Roz, I mean, Randy, do we have a question?
We do, Steve. Charles was wondering his thoughts of bringing awareness to generational cycles or traits of negativity and helping to change them. Is there some way, Dr. Sophie, that he optimize his creative mindset in order to make these things happen?
So
For
the
generational.
generational cycles, I know that I've talked with him about this, and I'm looking forward to him coming on the show soon again too, and explaining this to us. But the generational cycles of things that we just are passed down, we learn from our parents or our friends, and then that, particularly when we're young, and then that just becomes how it is. And so kind of and I maybe don't like to use this, but it's true. The victim becomes the victimizer kind of situation. The alcoholic father, then the son. Now, I'm not saying my dad was alcoholic. He wasn't, but I chose to do that myself. But then, the drinking thing, I can tell you this for me. It was like, well, 5 o'clock comes, it's about a drink, cocktail hour, right? So it became so normal. But can you speak to that question for Charles Prinzen? We also call him Coach, by the way. Hi, Coach. We appreciate that question.
All right. So the question is about the influence of the generational. I just want to make sure that the question is
Yes.
not about how
Let's
we
go
can help
back.
different generations into
Okay,
optimizing their creative
so let me
mindset.
bring the question back up. Your thoughts of bringing awareness to generational cycles or traits of negativity and help change them.
Yes. So that area really is very aligned with the stories that we tell ourselves, because it depends, of course, if I'm talking to a teenager who's influenced by the adults and under supervision, and they have to be obedient a lot more or less to their rules until they're a certain age. And in that case, we're talking in a different conversation. But since Coach Charles is, of course, in an adulthood, and the question applies, I would say definitely of like using modalities such as NLP really would help to reframe what we have learned in a different way, that our subconscious mind is already rewired for the new understanding of it. Because a lot of times, we behave a certain way because of what we believe and our perception and our understanding to it.
Right.
So it is going to take an expanded consciousness and allowing ourselves to be in those kind of like divergent, convergent, lateral thinking, and reframing questions, not just concepts and situations, but reframing questions. What if it was that way, and what if that? And instead of focusing only on the way that something has consistently been without questioning it, of having questioning realities and where they came from. And
Yeah.
is this our truth, or is it somebody else's truth? And why am I in that spot? Am I just because maybe wanting the validation, the connection, the acceptance, or is it truly what I believe in? And
Right.
that really opens people up a lot more than they ever imagined, because so many times they will recognize that a lot of the beliefs that they have adopted had come from sources that are maybe their parents or leaders or schools, and that was so embedded in them, but that wasn't really their own truth, which
Right.
continues to change with
Right.
experience. And the more we are living and having different experience, our perceptions and thus our truth also changes based on our understanding of what we are experiencing.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense to me. It really does. I did want to go to Robert Brooker, and I want to say thank you, Robert, for joining us this evening. He's coming in from the Toronto, Ontario area. That's my home area. I come
Welcome.
from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Robert. We love you. And he's got a question too, or really kind of like a statement, and you can expand on that. And it's, I want to continue to transfer his skills of generating joy to ones that generates abundance of income. And so he's, I think, looking to try and help people joyfully with respect to giving them opportunities so that they can make some money, and have some income. Especially right now, that's a good thing to do, is to try and help people manifest some money, because some of them don't have jobs. What would you recommend for those people that need to get some extra money?
When we are focusing on the money,
Yeah.
we're almost repelling it, right?
Mm,
But for those people to discover within themselves what are the current resources that they have available, what is their gifts, and by asking what are they so passionate about that they can provide as a service that is useful, that they will enjoy as well, while they're discovering that, this process itself actually puts them in a better place, because a lot of times they didn't have time to do that because they were working 9 to 5 jobs and always, on the run, on the routine go, and so forth. So if they just give themselves and permission to enter into that internal space within, to really discover and connect with their innate creativity, in addition to the skills they would need to develop or add to what they have, to get what the market needs. They have to see what are the problems that are existing, that we're facing the most. Where is their expertise come in, or their talent, or their skills, or their potential, and try to invest in that. Meaning, connect with the right people, show up when they need to show up, send emails, do phone calls, ask for help where they can maybe feel that there could be an assistant. You're not stuck. You're only stuck in your mind when you think you are stuck. All you are doing is pausing, taking a deep breath, and re-energizing your thoughts again, to go further and continue to do what could help you. But when you feel stuck and you don't do nothing at all at that point, it's really
wow.
not the space that can get you to any results. So whether it's emotionally or financially, either way, always seek and ask for help, because there is help, whether it is from government, private sectors, or coaches, mentors. There is, whether it is really learning from intellectual YouTube channels. Like, don't just keep yourself stale without doing anything, because then it's going to get worse and you go on a down spiral cycle.
Hmm.
And learning with joy and spreading that out, that's going to really create more abundance. The more you connect with things that you like to do, that lift you up, that make you happy, that make you feel a sense of accomplishment, and the more that you're able to serve, the higher your vibration is going to rise, and the more your excitement is going to show, and that's going to attract more to you, it's really a thing that you need to pay attention for, because a lot of people don't realize that by just, poking their lips out and being angry and mad because of what happened is not gonna solve or change anything. So
Right.
literally, having a productive action towards what it is they want to get and have a plan. I like writing things down because it really helps a lot for the mind when you do write. There is a certain way that you function writing, even including versus typing, that really helps the mind to think more clearer and in better direction.
Well, I think that isn't it a proven fact that if you write things down, that the comprehension level goes up?
Yes.
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 I think, and that's a big part. I like to write. I am a writer, really, just like you are. But I do like writing things down because then it's also repeating it to your mind, and so it becomes more real. You get more out of it and it becomes more of a situation. So we're going to go to a question here. We've got Jody Smith, and we appreciate you, Jody, for joining us this evening. Thank you so very much. She had a few decent winning scratch tickets. All right, these lottery scratch tickets, and so she just typed and printed, "I just won $1 million from a scratch lottery ticket," and taped it to her desk. Is that a good start in starting maybe this vision action board to manifest
Hey,
that? And
go
what would
for
you
it. Why
say?
not, right?
Is that a good idea then to be putting these reminders up around, I just won $1 million if that's what it is, or I just got a new house. But there's other important things as well in life, like, I'm getting along well with, my spouse or my kids. There could be all kinds of stuff, or, I'm having a better appreciation for nature. Of course, I had to plug the nature, right?
Yes. Well,
What
for
would you say
me, I
about
would
that?
say, to her question, that's a good start. But if you can add and put in, if you already had won that, what are you doing with it? Who are you spending it with and on? Are you using it for travel? Are you using it for business? And you start visualizing that, and then create your vision board with those things that you put on it versus just that, because that's what you're going to really attract, is the action towards the manifestation. So if I want to win $1 million, and I won $1 million, that's a good projection, right?
Hmm.
But if I put in, I created my new courses and I built the university I wanted, and then I
Yeah.
traveled around the world and I donated for these, whatever it is that you would have been doing with $1 million is what you really want to put on your manifestation board and attract that. Uh, and that would make it a lot more stronger, because the vision and without action, and that means in your clarity of direction of what you are wanting to really do with that, is what's going to speed things for you and bring it more to you than make it distance from you.
I think that makes sense to me because you want the things that will require that $1 million to have. And then the $1 million will manifest it because you're already decided, I'm going to have, is it a pet rescue, or is it a nonprofit foundation, or I want to donate it to my, this particular church, or whatever it might be, right?
Or create your brand. I mean, you could be into fashion or entertainment. You want to do your music CDs, but now you have a
Anything.
studio, and then now you are the
Right.
one producing it, for example. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I've done a vision board. It was a long time ago. I'm ready to do it because
And there you go. It's time to do it.
you know, and I'm not really material anymore. I got over material stuff a long time ago. When I sold my first house, and it's like, okay, get rid of it. I'm not attached. It doesn't make me somebody, but so I've tried my best to get over the material stuff. Although it's nice to have some stuff, isn't it? And things particularly with respect to our hobbies. But I haven't done it, and I didn't manifest that Corvette yet. So, I guess we have to make
You
another one,
gotta,
put the
you gotta
Corvette there.
feel
But
it. You gotta smell the leather of it. You gotta see yourself driving it,
Tell you
and
what.
all the
Yeah,
things
they're
that
pretty these
will
days
lead to
too.
that.
They're a lot nicer looking, I think, these days than they had been. Aside from the material stuff, though, um, I want you to talk about this gentleman a little bit and tell us about your relationship with him and how you guys have come together. You have a couple groups on Facebook, Wisdom Cafe, as well as Laughter Mindset. There's a gentleman that I know, and I'm blessed to know him. He goes by the Transformational Grand Master. Maybe you could
Oh,
tell us
Dr. Bob
about
Cho.
this
Yes.
transformational grandmaster. And of course, he's right in the front of your book there too, as well. Tell us about this gentleman.
Yes, I do have 14 contributors in Optimize Your Creative Mindset that are amazing and spectacular. Truly add a lot of inspirational stories that can inspire and uplift the reader to really go and want to take action. Because when you see where they're at in their lives, they're ordinary people who truly took and lived their creative potential to the fullest and manifested the results and still are learning from processes from past experiences that they took as tools to empower them and not hinder them. And Dr. Bob Schultz's story happens to be in chapter 1. And then, of course, then we have Dr. David Friedman, we have Lachelle Atkins, America's Supermom, Dr. Lori Shemek, Chris Salem. I mean, we have quite a bit of amazing individuals that their stories alone could be a book on its own, each one of them. But with your specific question, and it is such a blessing that I was connected with Dr. Bob through Mind Hack Academy, which is his online school for peak performance. And I signed up for one of the programs for my business. And he deals a lot with business leadership and peak performance. And so through the program, we developed a very great, open, intellectual, curious interaction for different ideas that we aligned on very well. And that's where the Laughter Mindset program originally was born through one of the classes that we had broke up into an unstoppable laughter. And it's really, really where the name Laughter Mindset came all together. I was like, oh my God, we need to stop. This is crazy. It was like, oh, the laughter mindset. And Dr. Bob Choate has, his PhDs in neuroscience and psychology. And he has few master degrees outside that as well. So he's a very, very deep in education, is very high on his list of continuously learning and studying. So it's always interesting to discuss different topics and so forth. And his story in the book is really, different than a lot of the times that we ever heard him speak. He surprised me because when I asked all the contributors if they can, contribute in a certain area, I would pick the topic that I feel that their expertise would fit best into the subject and content of the book and the researchers that are alongside with that. And for him, it was, in the thinking styles. And because he doesn't just believe in peak potential, but in transcending, which is really very important. Because if we reach only a certain level and then we're content, you're never going to continue growing because you think this is where I want it to be. And that's good. It's good to enjoy your wins, good to master your skills and become more of an expert in that area. But remember, that is only one area of the many that's still available to know more of or deeper at, digging or experimenting with. And his story that he shared in many areas really bring a lot of different awarenesses to people that it really stimulates your thinking. And of course, he had used different thinking styles even as he was a child, did not know how he was applying them, but evidently they paid off. And the integration between intellect and play is very important because it really assists the creative process. And Dr. Bob, had faced a lot of challenges as a child, and that talks about in the book in more details. And his outlet was, the martial arts and also the arts as well as performance, and all of these integrated together had helped him to transition from the area of the abuse that he had faced before, to redirect that energy to creative, endeavors. And growing up from there, going into the Marines and NLPD, he also talks about certain tests that they had to do over there, and how that by improvising and actually adopting and overcoming things, that really helped him to uh, get at the highest scores even there. So whether it was in Force Recon, or whether it was in LAPD, or any area that he actually was put in, he was able to master that specific, career, because of the creative thinking, and which it requires a creative mindset. So in details, there's more to it in the book. But one of the techniques that really helped him, and was a book that he also got early on in his life, and before we even hear a lot of it right now, was in hypnosis and NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming of the brain. And using a lot of those techniques on himself has actually helped him to transcend his situation. So, and now Dr. Bob, he is actually writing a book, and on NLP specifically, as well as, teaching. And, he's a master trainer. So basically offers certification programs in NLP as well. So there's a lot of tools that can help us to transition from a situation of where we might have felt stuck, to where we are more empowered. But we need to seek those tools and see what resonates most with us, so we can apply it best, whether it's from meditation to journaling to exercising to connecting to drawing to creating to writing. All of these are really helpful. They can only add more benefit than take away from your life. So I definitely encourage tapping into those tools for added productivity and expanded creativity.
Excellent. Now, I'd like you to tell the viewers where they can get a hold of your book too, as well. I believe it's available on Amazon, but if you'll tell the viewers, and we'll go ahead and put this in the comments so that they can get a hold
Sure.
of this book and help themselves.
Yes, Optimize Your Creative Mindset has been recognized in categories of popular psychology, cognitive psychology, genius, and creativity.
Wow.
And it is so humbling to have those kind of recognitions, because the book is really like a success manual for people who really want to tap into their creative potential, because it's 427 pages, so we can't summarize a third of it in a talk, but we can get a little bit of a feel to it, and that's what we're trying to do here. However, there are many different topics, whether it's storytelling, creative storytelling, different concepts, different people that have maybe been stories lost in history, that also come back to your awareness, so you can also know. It's always nice to bridge things, you see, and teach you also how to not just talk about bridging something, but how can I bridge the thing, and really go from this point to that point. And when I'm in this here in the middle of it, what do I do? And there is tools to help me know to go to, and what do I do is really very, very supportive, including the concept, the global concept of the circle of creative masters that you asked me about earlier.
Mhm.
And the circle of creative masters has such a beautiful foundation of a concept for really connecting leaders, executive and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, organizations, companies, and forth, anyone interested in to really doing that impact. But it's like a mastermind kind of concept, but a little bit different, because it's focused only on creativity leading to innovation. So with the specific standards that apply for the success of results to happen. And so the Circle of Creative Masters Institute offers services for the Circle of Creative Masters meetings as well. And they can find the book in Amazon, as well as Google, Barnes and Nobles, book reads. There's so many different areas where they are in different bookstores. If they go on Google and put optimize your creative mindset, it will give them a list of all the different links that they can buy it from. But on Amazon, for most people are familiar with Amazon, it's definitely on Amazon and available in the um, ebook as well, Kindle, and as well as the copy. And by the way, this is just for you to know. It's a time to pick it up because it is on promotion starting today on the Kindle. So grab it while supplies last, because the print copy was on promotion. It stopped, and now it's on the Kindle. So for those who are interested, you couldn't have grabbed it in any better time because it's very, very feasible.
Excellent. Yes, I recommend everybody go get this book. I know that I'm looking forward to reading through it. That is, again, Optimize Your Creative Mindset. That's what we've been talking about this evening. So get your copy, and then I can't wait to get mine signed. And
Yes.
that's going to be totally cool. But you've got several. Do you have a website that you're selling it on yet, or no? Or
Yes, on
yeah,
sofienubani.com and the
okay,
slash book, and then we can put that into the comments as well, and they
yes.
can
Go ahead and
get it from there. But it's the same as Amazon too, so definitely put all the links for them, no problem.
excellent. Yes, we'd love for you to get your copies, folks. We really would. We really appreciate everybody that's taking time to come and join us. I hope that you've been learning something. I know that I have. I
Oh,
always do when I'm around with Sophie. Dr. Sophie. So
bless you.
awesome. I want to hear a couple more things. We got a couple more minutes left. I want you to talk about this innate creativity. What is innate creativity?
That's your natural creativity, like your childlike, natural way. If you give a child a toy, okay, they'll probably do a lot of things with it without you even giving them the instructions on how they can do it and put it together already. So we have this in us naturally, because we're very curious by nature as children. We become incurious more as adults, unfortunately. But
Right.
it's two ways. It's innate and developed equally, because the innate is already there. It's just not a lot of people are knowing how to tap into it again, because they have to unlearn what they learned that hindered their creativity.
So that's
Including
it.
our school systems and the way they take tests and the way they look at things, the way they ask questions. All of those things, when you are addressing it from a root base of how do I think higher and maybe ask higher order questions, while learning these things, you start developing a different type of behavior, because now you're challenging yourself in a different way. And that's very important for you to go further into your creative skills and develop them a lot better. There has to be a practice of curiosity and setting the right attitude towards creativity and creating the right environment for yourself, so you can start. When you're kids, you go in a room, what does the parents want to do? They want to give you crayons and a color book and all that. Immediately, those are the things that you all know, or Lego or something. But as an adults, we don't have this same environment available for us. You go to Silicon Valley, the way they do things there, and it stimulates your creative juices, because the environment they have built to their employees and workers is to attract that and bring that out for them. So why not create your own environment in your homes or workspace that will be more inviting to your creativity, and see what could that be, and add it to your day and to your life and to your space, because it will do you good and it will encourage you more to step into your creative zone.
That's excellent advice. Excellent advice, because I know that I do hear that, and I recognize is for myself a little bit, although I try and be more creative because I like the writing and stuff like that. But as adults, we just tend to lose that childhood creativity, that imagination.
Yes,
The imagination goes
absolutely.
away. And so we got to bring that back and use that imagination, that creativity, and that drive.
Where
And
it
so
starts is imagination. It starts from there. Yes.
it does. I agree 100% that
Gotta
it starts with
unleash
our
the power
imagination.
of your imagination.
So what final thoughts would you, we've got about 2 minutes there. If you'll just, I'll let you wrap us up here. What would be the final thoughts that you want to share with our viewers to enhance their creative thinking so that they can achieve some more success in their life?
I think it starts with courage, giving ourselves permission and taking action. Without courage, nothing happens. It's one of the first traits for any and everything to happen. And this is very true. So don't doubt yourself. It's okay to make mistakes. Allow yourself to look at them as feedback and allow yourself to really discover your potential by not having limited beliefs on what you are wanting to accomplish, and being more open to experience. Have intellectual openness, intellectual curiosity, so that you can attract more of your tribe that's going to support you within your journey. I really believe that, and I know my dear friend, the queen of networking, Pat Rogers, because I hear her in my ears when she says, people need people. And it's so true. So surround yourself with those who are already in what you like doing, because it's going to rub off in a good way any way you look at it, whether you're learning from them, whether they're challenging you, whether you're asking questions, observing. All that is only going to lead to something positive, whether it's in groups, whether it's in books, whether it's in just maybe friendship and calls and so forth. So be very selective of your inner circle, because it really will influence your vibe and your actions and then your destiny with time.
That's so awesome. Thank you so very much for sharing your wisdom with us this evening, Dr. Sofie.
Bless.
Um, you know, you're such a dynamic person, and I wanted to bring you on the show, talk about your book and talk about optimization of our creative thinking. Everybody, let's take action. That's the key part
Yeah.
of this. It takes the imagination, then it takes action. Speak louder than words. So we
Amen.
love you, we appreciate you. Thank you so very much for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Sofie. Thank you
Blessings,
for
blessings.
all the contributors in this book that
Yes.
made the book what it is. Thank you so very much. And we'll be back next Monday at 7 p.m. Join us on Wednesday this evening, 7 o'clock in the evening, excuse me, for Ask Dr. Jenny. We'll be with her taking your questions about health related stuff. Thank you for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a blessed evening. And
Bless.
I'm Stephen Smith signing off. See y'all later. Take care.